Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm Annie, and today I'm going to share something incredibly personal and inspiring: how I learned English in just 3 months. Yes, you heard that right, just 3 months. This is not just a story, it's a journey filled with struggles, breakthroughs, and powerful moments that completely changed my life. If you're someone who's trying to learn English or any new language, my story might just be the motivation you need. So grab a cup of tea, sit back, and get ready for an epic 4-part journey that shows you exactly how I went from zero to fluent in English in only 90 days. Part 1. The beginning: from fear to fire. 3 months may not seem like a long time, but for me, it was enough to change everything. Before I start, let me paint a picture for you. I was just a regular girl, living in a small town where English was not spoken much. In fact, I had grown up fearing the language. Every time someone spoke in English, it felt like they belonged to a different world, a world I could see, but never enter. My fear started early, in school. Whenever the English teacher asked me a question, my heart would race, my palms would sweat, and the worst part, I always knew the answer but I couldn't say it. My tongue would twist, my mind would go blank, and I would return home with tears in my eyes, promising myself I would never try again. But something changed. It was a video, just one random video on YouTube, a girl from my country, confidently speaking in English, sharing her story. She wasn't from a rich family. She didn't go to an English medium school, but she did it. She learned English, and in that moment, something clicked inside me. If she could do it, why couldn't I? That night, I made a decision, a big one. I would give myself 3 months, just 90 days, to learn English. Not try to learn, but really learn. Speak it, understand it, love it. But I knew I had to start somewhere, so I grabbed a notebook and wrote down my goal. In 3 months, I will speak English fluently. That single sentence became my fuel. I looked at it every morning and every night. It reminded me of what I was fighting for. Day 1, the fear wall. The first day was the hardest. I sat down in front of my phone, opened a free English learning app, and started with the alphabet. Yes, the alphabet, because I wanted to start fresh, like a baby learning to speak. Then I faced my biggest fear, speaking. I recorded myself saying, "Hello, my name is Annie," and I hated it. My voice sounded weird. My pronunciation was off. I was embarrassed even though no one was watching. But I didn't delete the video. Instead, I recorded it again, and again, and again. By the 10th try, something magical happened. I smiled, not because it was perfect, but because I had done something I'd been afraid of my entire life. That smile gave me the strength to move forward. Week 1, the foundation of fire. Every morning, I spent 30 minutes watching English videos with subtitles. I didn't understand everything, but I watched, I listened, and I repeated what I heard. In the evening, I practiced speaking in front of the mirror. I talked about my day in English, even if it was just broken sentences. Today, I go market. I buy vegetables. It wasn't perfect, but it was progress. I stopped being afraid of mistakes. In fact, I started collecting them. I had a notebook titled "My Funny Mistakes." Every time I said something wrong, I wrote it down and laughed. Then I corrected it and learned. Mistakes became my best friends. By the end of week 1, something inside me had shifted. I was no longer afraid of English. I was excited by it, the spark that turned into a flame. In week 2, I joined a free online English conversation group. The first time I introduced myself, my voice was shaking. But guess what? Everyone was kind. No one laughed. They encouraged me. They corrected me gently. And that's when I realized learning English isn't just about grammar or vocabulary. It's about courage. Every time I spoke, even if it was wrong, I was building a new version of myself, a stronger, braver version. My family noticed the change too. I started using English words at home. My younger brother joined me, and we turned it into a game. Whoever used the most English words in a day got a prize. It wasn't just learning, it was fun. Month 1, the awakening. By the end of the first month, I could hold a basic conversation. I could introduce myself, talk about my hobbies, describe my day. It wasn't perfect, but it was real. I watched English movies with subtitles. Then, I watched them without subtitles. I started thinking in English. I even dreamed in English once. It was wild. I wasn't just learning a language. I was discovering a new part of myself. One night, I looked at my notebook again. In 3 months, I will speak English fluently. And I smiled, because for the first time, I believed it. Part 2. Building the foundation, my daily rituals. If month 1 was about shifting my mindset, month 2 was all about structure. I knew I needed a solid routine, something that would keep me focused, consistent, and moving forward even on tough days. So I built what I now call my English success system. It was simple, powerful, and I followed it every single day for 30 days straight. No excuses, no breaks. Let me break it down. Morning routine, 6:30 a.m. to 8 a.m. Every morning started with English. I treated it like brushing my teeth, non-negotiable. The first thing I did was listen to a podcast or a motivational video in English. At first, I didn't understand every word, but that didn't matter. I trained my ears to get used to the rhythm, speed, and flow of real English. I picked 5 new words from the video and added them to my word bank notebook. But I didn't just write them, I used them. I made up my own sentences. Word, grateful sentence. I am grateful for this beautiful morning. Word, achieve sentence. I will achieve my English goal. Then, I practiced speaking them out loud. Mid-morning practice, 10:30 a.m., 11 a.m. This was my shadowing session. I picked a short English video 2 to 3 minutes long and mimicked the speaker line by line. I paused after every sentence, repeated it with the same tone and emotion. This improved my pronunciation, rhythm, and confidence like nothing else. Afternoon writing practice, 1 p.m. to 1:30 p.m. After lunch, I spent time writing. I would write a journal entry in English about my morning, even if it was simple like, "Today I woke up early. I studied English. I feel happy." It helped build fluency. Writing helped me see my grammar mistakes and fix them with the help of free tools like Grammarly. Evening speaking challenge, 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. This was the highlight of my day. I had joined a small WhatsApp group of learners like me. We had a rule: 1 voice note per person every evening. We picked a topic like describe your hometown or talk about your favorite food, and sent a 1-minute recording in English. At first, I was shy, but with time, I started looking forward to it. I listened to others, learned from their mistakes, and improved with every voice note I sent. Night reading routine, 9 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. Before bed, I read 1 English story or article. Sometimes it was a children's story, sometimes it was a news article, but every night, without fail, I read. Then I would write down 3 new phrases I liked and try to use them the next day. This routine didn't just help me improve, it made English a part of my life. Many challenges to stay motivated. To keep things fun, I created weekly challenges. No native language day, 1 day a week. I would avoid my native language completely and use only English with gestures if needed. English diary week. I kept a full diary in English for 7 days. Talk to a stranger. I challenged myself to start a conversation in English with someone online or in real life. These challenges pushed me out of my comfort zone, and that's where the real magic happened. My environment became my classroom. I changed my phone language to English. I followed English pages on Instagram and YouTube. I put sticky notes on objects in my house with their English names. Mirror equals mirror, door equals door, window equals window, water bottle equals water bottle. It might sound silly, but seeing those words every day made them stick in my mind. Learning from mistakes, my secret weapon. I still made mistakes, lots of them. One day, I said I am boring instead of I am bored. My friend laughed and said, "No, Annie, you're not boring, you're just bored." I laughed too, and I never made that mistake again. I realized that every mistake was a step forward. I had a mistake wall in my notebook where I wrote the funniest or most important mistakes I made, with corrections. I reviewed it every Sunday. Consistency was my superpower. Even on days when I didn't feel like it, I showed up. Even when I was tired, I did at least one small English activity, because I knew that skipping a day meant losing momentum, and I had come too far to stop. After 60 days, something beautiful happened. I had a conversation with a native English speaker, online for 15 full minutes. No script, no help, just me, my voice, and confidence. She said, "Your English is amazing. Have you been learning for years?" And I said, smiling, "Just 2 months." That moment lit up my soul. Part 3. Breaking Barriers, Confidence, Mistakes, and Small Wins. If the first month gave me hope, and the second gave me structure, then the third month gave me wings. This was when the magic began, not because I suddenly became fluent, but because I started believing I could be, and that belief changed everything. The confidence struggle. Confidence doesn't come in a box. You don't wake up one day and suddenly speak English like a movie star. Confidence is built, slowly, one sentence at a time. At first, I doubted myself constantly. I'd speak, then instantly correct myself. I'd overthink every word. But one day, I had an important realization. Nobody cares about your mistakes as much as you do. That single sentence became a mantra. The first breakthrough moment. It happened at the grocery store. A tourist asked me where to find bottled water. My heart raced, but I answered. I said, "Yes, there, near cold drinks." Was it perfect? No. Did she understand? Yes. And that was enough. After she walked away with a thank you, I stood there smiling like a child who just won a prize. That was the first time I used English confidently with a stranger. I called it my breakthrough moment #1, and I never forgot it. Mistakes that made me laugh and learn. I made tons of mistakes, and honestly they're the reason I improved so fast. One time, I said, "I'm cooking in the shower." I meant to say, "I'm singing in the shower." The person laughed. I laughed. And I never forgot the correct sentence again. Here's another. Wrong. I am boring. Right. I am bored. That one nearly made me cry at first. But now, I teach that difference to others. Mistakes are not failures. They are funny little teachers. Small wins equals big motivation. Each week, I celebrated something new. I ordered a coffee in English. I gave directions to a lost traveler. I answered a phone call in English without panic. I watched an entire episode of a Netflix series without subtitles. These small wins built my momentum like a staircase. Step by step, I climbed. Speaking practice in real life. I didn't have native English speakers around me, but I didn't let that stop me. I created my own English world. I talked to myself while cooking. Now I add some salt. Careful, too much. I described everything I saw on the street. A man is walking. He has a red bag. He looks happy. I pretended I was vlogging. "Hey guys, today I'm going shopping. Let's go." It felt silly at first, but it worked. I was training my brain to think in English. The voice note challenge. One of the most powerful tools I used, voice messages. Every day, I recorded a 1-minute message on WhatsApp or Telegram and sent it to a group of fellow learners. They gave feedback. I gave feedback. We grew together. Some days, I listened to my older voice notes and smiled. I could hear the improvement. I wasn't just speaking, I was communicating. Power of positive reinforcement. Whenever someone said something kind like, "Your English has improved. I love your accent. Wow, you sound so confident," I wrote it down in a notebook called My Wins. Whenever I felt tired or doubtful, I'd open that notebook and read it. Fuel for the soul. Learning from others' mistakes. I also learn it a lot by helping others. In my voice note group, I started noticing patterns. Someone said, "He go to school every day." I gently corrected, "He goes to school every day." Then I realized I used to make the same mistake. Teaching is learning in disguise. The mental shift. One day, something changed. I stopped saying, "I'm learning English." I started saying, "I speak English." That mental shift changed how I acted. I no longer treated English like a subject. It became a tool, a part of me. Like riding a bike, you wobble at first. Then one day, you're flying. Facing my final fear, public speaking. One evening, I joined a live Zoom meetup for language learners. There were 20 people there. The host said, "Who wants to introduce themselves?" My heart raced, but I raised my hand. I said, "Hi everyone. My name is Annie. I started learning English 3 months ago. I was shy, scared, but now I feel proud. I still make mistakes, but I'm not afraid anymore." People clapped. They messaged me privately. One said, "You gave me hope." I cried that night, not because I spoke perfectly, but because I spoke fearlessly. The mirror talk method. Every night, I stood in front of my mirror and spoke for 5 minutes. Sometimes I talked about my day. Sometimes I gave myself a pep talk. Sometimes I practiced new words. But every time I showed up for myself, it wasn't about grammar. It was about confidence, eye contact, body language, and slowly, my fear melted away. My English mantras. I created these affirmations and repeated them daily. I am becoming fluent. Mistakes help me grow. English is my friend. I have a voice, and it deserves to be heard. They might sound simple, but they rewired my mindset. From learner to leader. One day, a friend asked, "Can you help me with my English?" And that's when it hit me. I had become someone people came to for help. From learner to leader. What this phase taught me: confidence isn't loud, it's consistent. Mistakes aren't bad, they're necessary. Every step counts, even the tiny ones. The only person you need to impress is your past self. Final moment of part 3. The day I felt fluent. It wasn't perfect, but I was walking through the park, headphones in, speaking to myself about the sunset. When someone asked, "Are you from an English-speaking country?" I laughed and said, "No, I'm just a big fan of English." That was the moment I felt fluent, not because I knew every word, but because I owned my voice. Part 4. Transformation of fluent, fearless, and future-ready. By the time I entered the 3rd month of my English learning journey, something had shifted inside me. I didn't just learn English, I became someone new. The shy and certain girl who once avoided speaking was now telling stories, answering questions, and inspiring others in a language she once feared. This wasn't just about grammar or vocabulary anymore. This was transformation. The "I made it" moment. It happened on a quiet evening. I was on a Zoom call with a group of international learners. The host said, "Annie, would you like to share your story?" My heart didn't race. I didn't fumble for words. I smiled and said, "Sure. I started learning English 3 months ago. At first, I couldn't even form a sentence. Today, I'm speaking to all of you with joy. not fear. If I can do it, you can too. The chat box exploded with kind messages. That night, I didn't just speak English, I moved people with it. Creating my own speaking club, I realized something. Waiting for perfect opportunities was useless. I had to create them. So I started my own small speaking club online. Just a few people from around the world: India, Egypt, Brazil, and even Japan. We met twice a week. Each session had a theme: childhood memories, dream travel, biggest failure, one word that describes you. We laughed, shared, encouraged. Leading the group gave me confidence I never thought I had. I went from being the quiet student to the one helping others find their voice. How English changed my life beyond language. I didn't expect this, but English affected other parts of my life too. I became more organized because I had to manage my time to stay consistent. I became more confident because every small win reminded me of my strength. I became more disciplined because I showed up daily, even when I didn't want to. I became more curious because English gave me access to books, podcasts, and people I never could have reached before. Learning English made me a better version of myself, opportunities I never imagined. Within just 3 months, I was invited to speak on a podcast for learners. A YouTube creator asked me to share my story in a guest video. I started getting DMs on Instagram saying, "Annie, how did you do it?" These things seemed impossible before, but now, English wasn't a wall anymore, it was a door. My new identity. When people asked, "Are you fluent?" I used to hesitate. Now, I say, "Yes, I am fluent in English." Not perfect, but powerful, because fluency isn't about knowing every word. It's about expressing yourself freely. I no longer translate in my head. I think in English. I no longer fear mistakes. I welcome them. I no longer study English. I live it. My daily life in English now. Here's what my routine looked like in month 3 and beyond. Morning 30 minutes. Take notes. Learn 3 new phrases. Afternoon 30 minutes. Watch a short TED Talk. Mimic the speaker's tone. Then summarize it aloud. Evening 30 minutes. Record a voice message or speak with someone online in English. Reflect on my growth. That's just 90 minutes a day, but it's intentional, focused, and joyful. Paying it forward. I started making short videos to help others. I shared tips like how to stop translating in your head, top 5 websites for English practice, how to sound confident even if you're nervous. People commented things like, "Your story gives me hope. You speak from the heart. If you learn it in 3 months, I can too." That's when I realized my journey wasn't just for me. It was a gift I could share. What I learned in 90 days. 1. Fluency is not magic. It's muscle. You build it through practice daily. Simple, steady. 2. Fear fades with action. The more you speak, the less scary it becomes. 3. Mistakes are gold. They are signs of effort, proof that you are growing. 4. Confidence is a decision. Start acting confident even before you feel it, and it will come. 5. You already have what you need. No fancy app or teacher can replace your willpower. What comes next? My journey doesn't end here. In fact, it's just the beginning. I'm applying for remote jobs that need English communication. I'm working on an ebook to help other beginners. I'm planning to travel to speak English in real life. And most importantly, I'm showing up on YouTube, telling my story, to prove to others that it's possible. Because if I can do it, you can too. Final words from the heart. To anyone watching this video or reading this story, you don't need to be smart. You don't need to go abroad. You don't need to be perfect. You need a plan, a reason, and a promise to yourself. That's how I did it. 3 months, 3 phases, 100 mistakes, 1,000 new words, and one transformed girl. I'm Annie. I learned English in 90 days, and now I'm fearless, fluent, and future ready.